Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is one of those topics in performance management, and I have a past question that I want to solve on this particular video. Past questions is related to variance analysis, and my name is Fadari Ayola. Now, here's the question. It says the following data relates to actual outputs and variance for the 4-weekly accounting period of Tokpe Limited that makes only one product, note that word, one product. Opening and closing work in progress figures were the same. Actual production of product XY, 18,000 units. Actual cost incurred. We have our direct material purchased and used. That's for 150,000 kilograms for 210,000. Our direct wages for 32,000 hours for 136,000. Variable production overhead for 38,000. Then it continues, it says the variances. Direct material price, 15 favorable. Direct material usage, 9 adverse. Direct labor rates, 8 adverse. Direct labor efficiency, 16 favorable. Variable production overhead expenditure, 6 adverse. Variable production overhead efficiency, 4 favorable. Variable overhead varies with labor hours worked. The standard marginal costing system is operated. A standard marginal costing system is operated. You are required to calculate the standard product costs for 1 unit of product XY, and we are told to show all working. Now, if you go back to this question, you'll find that at the second paragraph, where you have the variances, the direct material price 15F, direct material usage 9A, 9 adverse, F was favorable, direct labor rate 8 adverse, direct labor efficiency 16 favorable. What you need to first understand in this question is that the question is asking you to work backwards. So the question is asking you to work from the answer backwards to get the question. I'll repeat. The question itself is working backwards. So what it means is that they have given you the answer. They now want you to work backwards as if you want to get what the question was before you got this adverse and the favorable that you are saying. This 15 favorable, 9 adverse, 8 adverse, 16 adverse, and etc. So what they are saying is work from the question back, work from the answer back to the question. We will show our working. And they said a standard marginal costing system is operated. If you understand what marginal and absorption costing is, you understand where they are driving at. When it comes to marginal costing, only variable items are considered. No fixed cost items are also considered. Nothing like fixed cost, only variable cost items are considered. So to calculate the standard product cost for 1 unit of product XY, show all working. That's the requirement. Now, first of all, you might need to pause this video. You need to first know the formulas for all the items in variance. For instance, our material price variance. Material price variance. You see, I wrote SP minus AP, all brackets, AQ. SP stands for standard price minus AP, actual price, all in brackets, multiplied by actual quantity. You need to know those formulas first. So standard price minus actual price in brackets all multiplied by actual quantity. That's SP minus AP, all brackets multiplied by AQ. That's your material price variance. The material usage variance, usage has to do with quantity. Usage has to do with quantity. So we have our standard quantity minus actual quantity, all in brackets multiplied by standard price. Standard quantity minus actual quantity, all in brackets multiplied by standard price. SQ minus AQ, all in brackets multiplied by SP. That's material usage variance. Then we have our labor rate. Rate has to do with money. Labor rate variance. Our labor rate variance is our standard labor rate. We'll be given the rate for labor in hours. Standard labor rate minus actual labor rate, all in brackets, multiplied by actual labor hours. That's SLR minus ALR, all in bracket ALH. Now we have labor efficiency variance. Labor efficiency variance. That is our standard labor hour, SLH, minus actual labor hour, ALH, all in bracket multiplied by standard labor rate, SLR. Then we now talk of our overhead expenditure variance. Overhead expenditure variance. We talk of our standard rates for the overhead, SR for overhead, minus actual rates for your overhead, AR for the overhead, all in brackets multiplied by actual hour for your overheads. Then we go to the overhead efficiency variance. If you are tired, just take your time. You just need to know all this. So overhead efficiency variance is standard hour for your overhead minus actual hour for your overhead, all in bracket multiplied by standard rate for your overhead. Now, we want to now solve the question one. The question in our question one. Let's go back to the question all over again. Actual production of product XY, 18,000 units. Direct material purchased and used, 150,000 kg to 10,000. Direct wages for 32,000 hours, 136,000. And variable production overhead at 38,000. And we're given the closing figures for direct material price, 15 favorable, direct material usage, 9 adverse, direct labor rate, 8 adverse, direct labor efficiency, 16 favorable, the variable production overhead expenditure, 6 adverse, variable production overhead efficiency, 4 favorable. So let's go back to the solution. Now, we want to get our direct material price. Already, we know the answer is 15 favorable, 15F. So what you will just do is that you say standard price minus actual price, all in bracket multiplied by actual quantity, is equal to 15F. That's just it, equals to 15F. So what do you now need to do? We need to now find what standard price is, what actual price are, and what actual quantity is. So, and in the question, if you look at the question again, we were given that our actual quantity is 150,000 kilograms, kg, 150,000 kg. So Now, how do we now get our actual price? Our actual price here is 210,000 divided by 150,000 kilogram, which gives us 1 naira 40 kobo per kg. 1 naira 40 kobo per kg. So what it now means is that our actual price, our AP, is now 1 naira 40 kobo. So you will now insert it back into the formula. We already know what our actual quantity is, and we now know what our actual price is, and know that our requirement is to look for the standard cost or standard price of those items. Let me go back to the question. Can you see? You are required to calculate the standard products cost of 1 unit of product XY. So we are only bothered about the standard products. So either the standard cost, standard price, or standard quantity, depending on which question or which part of the question you are solving. Here now, we need to get the standard price. So now, let's change the subject of the formula. You now we have 15F, and 15F in the question is automatic. Don't let the F give any kind of confusion. The F is just to symbolize that the eventual answer was positive, that is favorable. And if you find an A, it means the answer came out negative. So instead of writing plus in front of the 15, we write F. And instead of writing minus in front of 9A, we just wrote in front of 9A, yes, we wrote 9A. But note that all figures are in thousands. So all you just need to do is just remove that F and put the 000, the 3 zeros to make it 15,000. You might need to pause the video and play it back so that if I'm too fast, you'll be able to grab what I'm actually saying. So now our 15F has now transformed to 15,000. Am I good? Good. 15F has transformed to 15,000. Then our 210,000 is for our actual price. Then 150,000 will multiply by our standard price. 150,000 multiplied by your standard price, which gives us the total standard price. So we now change the subject of formula. The figures that has no symbol behind them, you bring them to one place, you cross over the bridge, that's the equal to sign, then you leave the one that has the subject of formula at the other end. So we now have 150,000 SP equals 15,000 plus 210,000, which now gives us 150,000 SP equals to 225,000. So make SP the subject of the formula. It will now be 225,000 divided by 150,000, which gives us 1.5 per kilogram. This is our answer. So we've now walked back to the question. So if we now want us to walk towards the answer again, you see that I wrote it in red color. So if you fix in 1.5 minus 1.4, all in bracket times 150,000, they're going to get 15,000 F, which is actually what we got at the initial question above. So let's move on. Now, our standard quantity, we don't know it, but we know our actual quantity and we know our actual price. Actual quantity, 150,000 kg. Standard price, 1.5 kg per kg. Then our formula, standard quantity minus actual quantity, which is 150,000, all in bracket multiplied by standard price is 1.5. Once you do your calculation, you will get negative 9,000. That is the 9 adverse we got in the question above. 9 adverse. So now, if the 9 adverse was the answer given to us in the question above. Yes. So now I've removed the A. I've added the 3 zeros, making it 9,000 minus 9,000, negative 9,000. So we now multiply everything in the bracket by 1.5, where we now get 1.5 standard quantity minus 225,000 equals to minus 9,000. We'll bring the like numbers to the other side. We now have 1.5 SQ equals to minus 9,000 plus 225,000, which now gives us 1.5 SQ equals to 216,000. So SQ now is 216,000 divided by 1.5, which gives us 144,000 kg. So 144,000 minus 150,000 multiplied by 1.5 will now give us our negative 9,000, which is our 9 adverse. Which is our 9 adverse. Let's move on. Now we have our labor rates. Standard labor rate minus actual labor rate, all in brackets multiplied by actual labor hour. Everything gives us negative 8,000. That's 8A, 8 adverse. If you check the question, you will see it. So we are looking for the standard labor rate. Mind you, in the question, the requirement is to look for our standard cost items. So standard labor rate, we don't know. But our actual labor rate, we can get it by dividing 136,000 over 32,000, which gives us 4.25. So our actual labor rate, our actual labor hour is already 32,000 hours. 32,000 hours. So we now say, we can say, okay, let standard labor rate be represented by X. Or you can still leave it as standard labor rate. I just chose to represent it by X. Now, X minus 4.25, that's standard labor rate minus actual labor rate, all multiplied by actual labor hour, which is our 32,000. Everything gives us minus 8, with the minus 8,000. So 32,000X minus 136,000 equals minus 8,000. When you carry everything together, the like numbers cross to the other side, and we have the subject of formula the left hand side. Our X will now be 128,000 divided by 32,000, which gives us 4. And that 4 is our standard labor rate. So please permit me if you are hearing some noise at the background, just my neighbors playing outside the compound. Now, we want to look for standard labor hour. We need to know what our standard labor hour. Here, I represented it by X. Then actual labor hour, which is 32,000 hours. Then our standard labor rate is 4. The 4 we got from the previous solution. So X minus 32,000 hours, all bracket 4, equals to 16,000 favorable, or 16 favorable. If you check the question, remove the F, put the 3 zeros to make it 1,000, it becomes 16,000 favorable. So 4X now, that's you now multiply X by 4. 4X minus 128,000 equals 16,000. 4X is equals to 16,000 plus 128,000. Everything gives us 144,000. Our X will now be 144,000 divided by 4, which gives us 36,000 hours. 36,000 hours. So that is that about that. So once you solve this solution. It's a very simple solution which you can quickly solve at your fingertips. But all you need to know is to practice those formulas down. The solution is material price variance, material usage variance, labor rate variance, labor efficiency variance, overhead expenditure variance, and overhead efficiency variance. Then you'll be able to solve this question. So I hope I've been able to walk you through this simple past question. So till we meet next time, is bye for now. Bye bye.